For those that want Bellinger, know that if we sign Bellinger, we're not getting Soto. That's just guaranteed. What is up, guys? This is David from Bronx Banter, and today's topic, I always say it's a juicy one. It's a good one. It's one that's been seasoned for a bit. It's a one that has been talked about since last year. This episode, we're talking about Cody Bellinger as he's heading into 2024 offseason, most likely as a free agent. He does have a mutual option. So essentially what that means is if he agrees to stays with the Cubs and the Cubs agree to keep him, he'll be with the Cubs in 2024. But based off of Cody Bellinger's very strong and really good season with the Cubs, and he had a really good bounce back, it looks like he's going to probably want to test the free agent market and see if he could get a little more extra change, whether that's with the Cubs or whether that's another team such as the New York Yankees. With Cody Bellinger's very, very strong season last year, he's obviously going to get way more than $17.5 million a year, and he's definitely going to get more than just a one-year contract. He's going to probably want to look for a seven-year contract. I would assume the AAV would start at 20 mil. Even with that being said, this is something that I know the Yankees can afford. The Yankees could quite afford anyone they would choose to afford. They clearly are willing to afford a $160 million contract to a pitcher. I think gave up 8 runs before recording an out in his last start, Carlos Rodon. But even beyond that, looking at Cody Bellinger, beyond just our need for left field, he is a very strong lefty bat, very strong defensive outfielder. He could play center field, right field. I think he's even played left field. Very high potential. We've seen his rookie season getting 39 home runs, almost 100 RBIs. He did bat in the 250s, but clearly with his home runs, that showed that he was very much a power hitter. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have him in this year coming out with a above 300 batting average. I think he got 25 or 25 plus home runs, over 20 stolen bases. His RBIs again almost reached 100. So he's shown that he can do both contact and both home run hitting. And quite honestly, if we were to get either of those styles of Cody Bellinger, I'd be happy. But again, lefty bat, that short porch, I could see him getting 300 batting average and getting over 30 plus home runs, which would be incredible. Also with his amazing defense, which is something that should be valued, but the Yankees value very highly. And on top of that, it's a little cute story that his father, Clay Bellinger, got a ring or two with the Yankees himself and played fairly well as a Yankee in pinstripes. So that kind of all stirred up the possibility of us possibly having him as an option for center field or left field. What also, I don't want to say is a good thing, but what also has helped the case of us trying to go for Cody Bellinger is we don't have a center fielder right now, or an ideal center fielder. Shout out to Florial. I love you, but no one expected for you to be a starting center fielder for us this year. Because Jason Dominguez got hurt and he will be hurt for at least half of the season next year. I would assume so. And then we also have Bader that obviously we trade, or we put on waivers. Sorry. And then our left field still has never been resolved. We got Everson Pereira, but he hasn't been showing off too much promise there. Cabrera has shown that he's turned it around and he's able to pinpoint why he was able to turn around. So maybe there's hope there. But again, we have uncertainties still in left and center field. And that really only leaves the only certainty in right field being Aaron Judge, our captain. And so we got to figure something out. And Cody Bellinger seems like a very, very promising pick. And again, with an incredible 2023 season, a very strong and great 2023 season, he seems like a very viable option. There are things to look at beyond just this sole season that Cody Bellinger produced with the Cubs. But if we were just looking at the 2023 stats, again, very strong, very promising. Let's take a look at this. In 2023, he posted a 4.4 WAR, 26 home runs, a 307 batting average with 97 RBIs and 20 stolen bases, and his OPS was at an 881. Very, very strong, very, very amazing stats. And I don't have all the Yankees stats right in front of me, but I'm pretty sure if we were to compare his offensive numbers versus the rest of the New York Yankees this year, he'd be our second best, arguably maybe even our best. Now, I know that sounds a little blasphemous with Judge being our captain, and Judge had really good numbers when he was on the field, but obviously with him being off of the field, he didn't get to have a full season to reach what he was on pace for, to have like 50 plus home runs, over 100 RBIs. So with Bellinger would easily have had our best average at 307. He would have had our second best, or at least tied for our second best, or around our second best in home runs. I can't remember how much Gleyber had. He would have had 100%, I think 100%, our best RBIs. And the rest of his numbers are like comparable, sitting above Gleyber and below Judge. So he easily, just signing him would make our offense so much better. So much better. So just last year's stats, if we were to get that type of Bellinger, wow. And then on top of that, his defense is very strong too. You know, we talk about extending and wanting to re-sign Gleyber, and obviously have a video on that. I'm not going to touch too much on that this episode, but we talk about wanting to extend him and re-sign him because he's a great bat. Well, Bellinger's an even better bat, and he's way better defensively. So he's not just serviceable. He's more than serviceable in just about all facets of the game, with above average offense, above average defense, contact skills, and speed with 20 stolen bases. He's a 2020 guy with a 300 batting average. Like, sign me up. Sign any team would want that. So for us to get that, and not just get that, but get that with the lefty bat in Yankee Stadium, and also get that lefty bat Yankee Stadium, and he's filling in a position that has been in question for years already. This almost seems inevitable. This almost seems like this has to happen. Now, before we get too excited on Bellinger, before you get way too excited, there are some things to be aware of. He has had, honestly, very bad seasons, very bad seasons, and a couple of them as well. Though that is the case, I also want to look at, I did a little research, did a little bit of very service. I don't even want to call them analytics, but I just did some math. And really, I took all of his numbers in his career, and I just removed the 2020 season just because it was a shortened season. It was just kind of weird. I removed that season. So in the rest of his other 6 seasons, I took his average of all of his stats. So essentially, what is the player that we can expect on average as a median? Basically the median. If you ever took math, the median. Sorry, this is not a math podcast, but the median of what he can produce for a team. And that is a 3.7 WAR, 29 home runs, 258 batting average, 86 RBIs, and an OPS of 829. An OPS over 800, I think, is, again, our second best. All these stats, quite honestly, are probably second best offensively for us. So no matter how you want to chop up the numbers, obviously, unless you solely focus on his bad seasons, he's a huge improvement to our offense. A lot of people may want to shy away from him because he's had bad seasons and this and that. And I totally get it. And we're going to touch on that. But even as an average of what he's produced over his career, even including his rough seasons, he's still one of our best offensive bats and options this offseason. So as you can tell, I like Bellinger and what he's produced. I think he's a viable option to go for. And if the Yankees were to come out in a month or two to say that and news broke out that the Yankees signed Cody Bellinger, I'm excited. Immediately, again, I've already said it, our offense gets better. But there's one thing we should know about Cody Bellinger. He, quite honestly, is, to me, feels like an offensive version of Carlos Rodon. Couple of seasons under his belt. He's had very amazing, stellar seasons. Bellinger actually won an MVP, so I guess in that sense it's a little bit different. But he's also has had atrocious seasons. Just as Rodon, I don't know if he's had atrocious seasons. I know he hasn't had strong seasons, though. So you're going to be wanting to commit millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to a player that, though we're looking at his average, and his average is really great, really strong, those averages for him are being carried by just his amazing seasons, because his bad seasons have been really bad. So we have to look at this with some caution. And let me know in the comments below, what side are you steering towards? Are you steering towards signing Bellinger, not signing Bellinger? Is he your first option? Is he your second? Or is he not even an option for you? I'm curious to know. For me, he's an option. Don't think he's my first option though. It's tough. It's very, very tough. And I'm gonna say a little bit why, because there's a guy out there that's honestly, I mean, I don't have his career stats, but feels like he's averaging a 300 batting average, averaging 30 plus home runs, averaging 100 plus RBIs, averaging on base percentage over 400. So super young, younger than Bellinger. But there's another guy out there that I released a video on, Juan Soto, that I think is even a better fit. Obviously comes with a different price tag. That's another key factor here. You could either go for Juan Soto or you could go for CODY Bellinger. CODY Bellinger will cost less, probably less years as well, but he's not going to have the same ceiling that Juan Soto has. Juan Soto, I don't even think has reached his ceiling, which is insane to think because he's not even close to his prime years or what are considered prime years in baseball. And he's still posting up these insane numbers year in and year out. Both are lefty bats. Bellinger has better defense than Soto. Bellinger can also transition to first base seamlessly once Rizzo's contract is up next year. You could transition CODY Bellinger over to first base and he could be very, very strong. And I think, I don't want to say he's going to be, he could be better than Rizzo, but he's definitely, I feel like if we were to move Bellinger over, the perfect way to word this is that we wouldn't miss Rizzo, at least in terms of production. And what this would look like if we did get Bellinger is that we would have Bellinger in outfield. He would fill in the role until Dominguez gets back. Maybe you move Dominguez to left, or most likely you'll move Bellinger to left. Then once Rizzo is gone at the end of the 2024 season, I don't seem to want to sign him back, especially with this injury concern. Don't know how he's going to bounce back from that. You move Bellinger to first. That gives a whole year for Spencer Jones to develop. And then the pace that he's moving up, I think he could be a 2025 year 2025 option for opening day roster over at left field. You have Dominguez at center. You have Judge in right. And then you still have CODY in first, Gleyber in second, Volpe in short, and third obviously is a little more of a revolving door or question mark with LeMahieu, Peraza. We'll figure that out. And then Wells at catcher. Those are very strong, promising young players too. The oldest player on that whole team would be, or on that whole field would be DJ. And DJ, again, wouldn't be an everyday, at least to me, wouldn't be at that point an everyday starting player. He'll be more of a platoon, plug-in play, give Gleyber. We have already spoken about this, but CODY Bellinger seems like a strategic puzzle piece. Now, with this strategy, I would also categorize this pick and this choice of signing Bellinger as a high risk, high reward. As in, he's still young. He could be heading into his prime in these next couple of years that you're signing him for. So that means we haven't seen the best of him. We could be getting that Bellinger, or we could be getting a Bellinger that comes to Yankee Stadium, gets underneath the spotlight, which is a bigger spotlight than Dodger Stadium, different ballpark than Wrigley Field, different fan base, and he struggles, cracks under pressure, or just something doesn't click in New York, as we've seen plenty of times with Gallo, Hicks, and Donaldson, and a few other players I just can't name right now. That could very much happen. And at this point, Rodon, but he's a pitching version, and we're paying him over $100 million for that lack of production. You're risking a lot of money. And now the question becomes, is this, are the Yankees, or even better yet, is Brian Cashman in the right position to make a move that is such high risk, high reward? I personally believe it's a high risk, high reward. I'm leaning more towards the high reward, but it's still, there's a risk. There's caution tape on the other side of this that you should be aware of. And the last thing that the Yankees need, the last thing that Brian Cashman needs under his resume is overpaying for a player that is underproducing. And I'll end with this. For those that want Bellinger, know that if we sign Bellinger, yes, it's cheaper than getting Juan Soto. It's not as a surefire offensive piece like Juan Soto is. But with all that being said, sign Bellinger, we're not getting Soto. That's just guaranteed. In my opinion, the best move is to wait a year for Soto to be a free agent. Don't make a trade. So do you want to, in David's world of GMing, Do you want to wait till 2025 and sign Soto to a massive contract, but you're almost guaranteed that he's going to produce? Or do you want to sign Bellinger this year, shorter contract, but you're not too sure of what you're getting? You don't even know if you're going to get a power guy or a contact guy. It's a lot of uncertainty. So basically, do you want to pay for uncertainty now, or do you want to wait and pay for certainty later? What kind of investment do you want to make into this team? And what kind of investment can this team or will this team be willing to make? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm so interested to see what you guys have to say. Guys, if you liked this episode, please make sure to like it, comment down below, and subscribe, and watch what YouTube suggests would be a great video for you. You're not going to want to miss all the latest Yankees news and topics going on. Listen, Judge wants you to subscribe. The Martian wants you to subscribe, so make sure you do. And until next time, peace and be blessed.